I was supposed to be working. Emails. Deadlines. Another cup of cold coffee beside my laptop. But instead, I clicked on a banner. Private research study, up to $80 for 5 minutes. I wasn't in it for the money. It was just a reflex. Something to break the mental loop. The design was clean. No company name. Just a black hexagon in the corner. The first few questions were easy. Age? Living alone? How often do you work from home? Click. 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 Then it got personal. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Do you leave your front door locked during the day? How often do you look out your windows? I paused. Not because I was scared. Just caught off guard. But I kept answering. Because curiosity is quieter than fear. And then the final screen appeared. Not a thank you. Not a confirmation. Just one line. Are you ready to begin? 2 buttons. Yes or no. I hesitated. Laughed to myself. Clicked yes. Behind me. A soft mechanical sound. The kind you hear in elevators. Or heavy security doors. I turned around. The door to my apartment was locked. From the outside. I stood there for a second. Maybe 2. I thought it was just my lock. That maybe I imagined the sound. I walked over, tried the handle. Nothing. Deadbolt. Engaged. Not from my side. I opened my phone. No signal. Wi-Fi bar, full. But no apps worked. No pages loaded. Then I looked back at the laptop. The survey page had disappeared. No tabs. No browser. Just a black screen. Like it had shut itself down. Except it hadn't. Because suddenly, new text appeared. White. Centered. Pulsing. You've been accepted. I didn't touch anything. No keyboard. No mouse. Then another line appeared underneath. Please remain still. Your environment is adjusting. My breath caught. Not because of the words. Because I felt it. The air shifted, not colder, not warmer. Just closer. Like the room had leaned in. No sounds. No movement. Just that feeling in my chest. Like I wasn't alone in the apartment anymore. And I hadn't heard anyone enter. I stepped away from the desk. Slowly. Quietly. Like noise might make something worse. The laptop screen still glowed, white text on black. Please remain still. I didn't. I backed toward the hallway. Halfway between the kitchen and my bedroom, I stopped. Not because of the air. Not because of the silence. Because I heard something faint. Click. Pause. Click again. I turned. It was coming from my TV. I hadn't touched the remote. It was off. I was sure of it. But now the screen was on. Grainy, low-res video, like a security feed. Footage of my living room. Not live. Recorded. I stepped closer. The timestamp in the corner, yesterday, 2:17 p.m. Same chair. Same clothes. Me. Typing. Yawning. Walking to the fridge. Nothing dramatic. Just watched. I looked behind the TV. Nothing. No camera. No wires I didn't know about. But the video kept playing. Routine. Private. Detailed. And that same phrase appeared on the bottom of the screen. You've been accepted. I shut the laptop. Held it closed. Pressed the power button. Nothing happened. The fan inside kept running, quiet, steady. Like it wasn't mine anymore. I reached for the router. Unplugged it. No Wi-Fi. No signal. But the laptop didn't care. I opened system settings. No active apps. No browser history. Just one folder on the desktop I hadn't created. Titled Follow-up. I hovered over it. Didn't click. Instead, I went to the kitchen, quietly. Opened a drawer. Took out my old phone. Turned it on. No SIM. No saved Wi-Fi networks. But as soon as it booted, it pinged. One new notification. From the same survey site. Thank you for continuing. Please return to your primary device. I stared at the screen. There was no app. No website open. No browser history. Just that message. And that's when I realized. This didn't start today. I didn't go back to the laptop. I sat down at the kitchen table. With my old phone still in my hand. Staring at that message. Thank you for continuing. It didn't say, thank you for starting. It said continuing. That's what stayed with me. I opened my notes app. Typed the name of the survey site. Focusline.research. Nothing came up. No website. No history. Not even cached results. But the logo. I remembered the shape. Simple black hexagon with a white dot in the center. I'd seen it once before. On a clipboard. 6 months ago. At a co-working space downtown. I was leaving a meeting. Someone in the hallway asked me if I'd answer 3 quick questions for a behavioral study. I said no. Didn't even stop walking. I don't remember their face. But I remember the clipboard. And the logo in the corner. It hadn't meant anything then. Now it was everywhere. On my screen. On my backup phone. In my house. And I had no idea what I'd already given them. By mid-afternoon, I was restless. I hadn't left the apartment. I hadn't opened the laptop again. But I needed to know if this was just me. So I called Emma. We'd worked together before, 2 freelance contracts, 3 months of shared Slack hell. Smart. Rational. The kind of person who reads privacy policies for fun. I told her everything. From the survey to the lock to the old phone message. She didn't laugh. But she didn't pause either. Yeah, I think I've seen that logo before too, she said casually. The hexagon thing, right? Probably one of those A/B testing firms. A/B testing? Emma, I said slowly, do you remember clicking anything with that icon? I don't know. Probably. Everyone runs some kind of user testing now. She wasn't worried. She didn't even ask to see a screenshot. And that's what shook me more than the messages. Because if Emma wasn't surprised, if other people had seen it too, then maybe this wasn't just about me. Maybe I wasn't the only one being watched. Maybe I was just the only one who noticed. I packed a bag. Not because I had a plan. Not yet. But sitting still felt like permission. I checked the door. Still locked. Still silent. But when I touched the handle, it turned. No click. No warning. Just unlocked. For a second, I thought maybe this was over. Maybe it was all some deeply unfunny UX experiment. But then I noticed it. Right outside my door. On the hallway wall. A tiny black sticker. Barely visible unless you were looking. A hexagon. The same one. It hadn't been there before. I stepped into the hallway, listening. No voices. No footsteps. But something was different. The lights were brighter than usual. Colder. The elevator was working. But the floor indicator wasn't moving. And at the end of the hall, the security camera above the exit door was pointed directly at my apartment. Not the hallway. Not the common area. Just my door. Like it had been reassigned. Outside, everything looked normal. Sunlight. People. Movement. But something about the normal felt off. No one looked up. No one rushed. Everyone moved just a little too smoothly. Like they were where they were supposed to be. I walked half a block to the cafe on the corner. Before I even stepped inside, the barista looked up. Americano, right? With almond milk? I had never said that out loud. I didn't respond. Didn't break stride. Just turned and walked back out. In the glass door, I caught a reflection. A man sitting near the window. Young. Black jacket. Laptop open. I'd seen his face before. Not in person. On screen. In footage. My footage. He didn't look up. Just smiled, slightly. Like everything was going according to plan. And I had finally stepped into it. I didn't sit. Didn't order. Just stood outside the cafe window. He didn't pretend not to notice me. He closed his laptop slowly. Placed it in a black backpack that looked newer than his jacket. Then stood up, calm, deliberate, and walked outside. He stopped a few feet from me. No introduction. No badge. No clipboard. Just a sentence. You handled the onboarding better than expected. That's all. No hello. No explanation. No name. I looked at him, really looked. He wasn't nervous. Wasn't aggressive. He didn't seem like someone with answers. He seemed like someone with a script. What is this? I asked. He smiled. You'll understand more when you meet the others. I didn't ask who the others were. Because I already knew what that meant. This wasn't an accident. Not the survey. Not the footage. Not the message. I was part of something now. Not by choice. But by compliance. Because the truth is, you don't always join. Sometimes you're absorbed. I didn't follow him. I didn't need to. Because I already knew, wherever he was going, I'd be brought there eventually. Maybe not today. Maybe not officially. But this wasn't about destination. It was about alignment. Back in my apartment, everything looked untouched. No messages. No screens. No strange behavior. The laptop was dark. The router was still unplugged. But the folder, the one labeled follow-up, was gone. Deleted, or maybe just never really there. And the survey site? Still invisible. No trace. No cache. No record. If you asked me now how it all started, I wouldn't say the link. Or the locked door. Or the camera. I'd say, it started when I stopped questioning the small things. When I clicked yes, because it was faster than thinking. When I gave in to the idea that this was just one more harmless action in a long list of harmless actions. But the system doesn't need your fear. Or your trust. It only needs your participation. And that happens silently.